I mean, I'm happy that we can beat like the Spurs and shit and all these cupcake ass teams, but like, there's only so many of those on the schedule. Actually, there's a lot of those on the schedule that we could win, but it's just every time I watch a prime time TNT game versus a quality opponent, I already know the Lakers are gonna lose. That's why I told you yesterday. I was like, that line is fishy as fuck. Like, I don't even know who hung that. I told you that. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
that's wrong. Like, that's like
It was
you
super
could like,
sus. It made you
bro.
think that they were gonna win. Like Vegas knew something we
Yeah,
didn't.
I was like, maybe, yeah, I was like,
Which
maybe.
it was a
I
very
bet
close
the
game.
Thunder though.
It was
I bet the Thunder.
it was a very close
I
game
was
though.
like, that still doesn't math in my head. I told you, I was like, that shit don't math. But it's funny that they even hung that line because, in my opinion, like somebody needs to get fired for that shit. That was stupid as fuck. You
Yeah.
can't hang no 2.5, bro.
We busy, 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 we busy. That bitch so pretty, got a mean girl just like Lindsay. Said she fucking with me, making drives across the city. Swear this shit can get too litty. Pushing be like Diddy, you ain't B-boy, who you kidding? At the top, I see you there. In LA, I see you there. At the space, I see you there. Since the state, I see you there. I know y'all go crazy, y'all be turning up in the square. Take another pill and we get turned up just by anywhere. Hit you in and say yeah, just to see if there's a feelings there.
What's going on, everybody? We're back at it again, man. It's your host ZD, and I'm with my lovely co-host today, CJ.
Yo, yo,
We're
yo.
three man weave. You know,
Three
we
man,
back
three
at it,
man.
man. It's episode 8. You know, I was just hollering at CJ. I was like, yeah, we on episode 8. So, yeah, man, we're just, I think it's Thanksgiving week. So, you know,
Yeah.
happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
All that, yeah, for all those who celebrate, you know, hopefully it was filled with food and family and, you know, doing whatever you want to do.
Hey, all
But
all that Thanksgiving like football makes me realize is that Christmas basketball is way better.
bro,
That's all I gotta say.
that on X, bro. That's yeah. We honestly we can start it off with that. I seen somebody on X who was like, "Oh, you might have seen it too." It was like, "Is Christmas, you know, basketball better than Thanksgiving football?" And I'm like, "For
For
sure."
sure.
For,
And the vibes are just different. I don't know. Like I felt like these games were like kind of trash. Like the games
yeah,
itself were decent, like as they played out, but like on paper they just were like I don't know
right.
if they, like Cowboys,
Well,
Eagles, or
to CJ's
Cowboys,
point,
Giants, like
yeah, to CJ's point, we're here to talk about some hoops, man. You know, NBA was off Thursday, obviously, but we've had games. I think I was telling you like the last couple days, you know, we've been keeping up with our squad. So, you know, I like to start it off with like talking about my team, and that's the LA Lakers, man. Go Lake Show. But yeah, no, I'll just rip, you know, go down the lane of the notes that I had. But bro, we cannot beat a quality opponents to save our lives right now. But hey, I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Like, I think it was the in season. It was in season. The last 2 games that we played have been in season tournament cup games. I think we had one game in between versus the Spurs that wasn't. But the last 2 in season tournament games, bro, dude, or Thunder and Suns. Those 2 teams, I would say, when fully healthy, and honestly, the Thunder aren't even fully healthy, so I can't even say that. But when they're like almost full strength, bro, those are 2 quality opponents, right? So I was watching very closely. Starting off with the Suns game, obviously, you know, Durant came back. Can't really do too much about that. Obviously, same with Bradley Beal. So you know they got the big three down in Arizona. But bro, we looked pretty good for most of the game, and then in the third quarter, we just blew up. We just blew up. We were hanging with them. We were playing well, honestly, up until halftime. We were down about like 7 or 9 points, I think, going into halftime, and honestly, in basketball, that's not too many points. Like that's
mm,
it's a couple possessions. You know, you got a couple quarters to kind of figure it out. But
mhm.
in that third quarter, I think we're one of the worst teams in the third quarter, by the way. So that's like a interesting stat
That is interesting.
to take on, yeah, to look into. But um, bro, third quarter comes around, bro. I'm talking Tyus Jones. D Books just starts cooking us, man. Tyus Jones is getting everybody involved. He's getting Kevin Durant involved, Royce O'Neal involved. Guys start hitting threes, hitting threes, hitting threes. And like I've been saying for the last 2 years, bro, we just can't, we don't have any shooters. Like besides Dalton Connect and sometimes often Austin Reeves. And honestly, sometimes Braun, because Braun, you know, he can shoot 40% when he's feeling it.
Yeah.
But bro, outside of those three dudes, like we just don't have anybody who can shoot the ball, and it makes it so hard to play against these teams again, especially the Suns. Like I really noticed because we got blew out
Yeah.
by the Suns. Like that was like our worst game of the week so far, and just watching them and then watching JJ trying to figure out a way to scramble together some offensive, I don't know, like good offensive possessions. It's just like it's so frustrating to watch because we've been looking for shooters and we finally got a good one in Dalton Connect, but we just don't have enough pieces around Braun and AD to really beat quality opponents. And kind of going into the next game, obviously with the Spurs, we ended up winning, but I would argue that they're not a quality opponent. The Spurs are still a developing team that aren't really gonna, they're not gonna make a playoff run per se. And if they did, people would probably be surprised. They'd have to go through the Thunder, the Nuggets, teams like that, and it's just really hard for the Spurs to beat them. But we ended up beating the Spurs by like 20 something too, which was good. I really like that game because Dalton Connect and Anthony Davis were kind of going off. I think Anthony Davis almost had a triple double, so he was kind of doing everything out there. Like he was passing and shit like that. So it was pretty cool to see. If you guys don't know, like we're in Austin, so like the Spurs, I have to watch it on Meth streams. So
Yeah.
like the Spurs are blocked out, but it's
Allegedly.
fine. I'm still, yeah, bro. And I'll be playing, yeah, allegedly, but I'd be paying for League Pass, and I still can't watch any Spurs.
I saw that you can if you get like the premium version, don't you get like whatever you could choose a team that you just always.
Yes, yeah, you can get like the package.
Yeah, but it's like more, right? It's like $10 more.
I'll look into it honestly because watching Wemby for the next 10 years might even be like
worth it.
Idea.
Yeah,
and it's like every like we're saying, they play the Lakers a couple times a year, so you never know, but. Really, my takeaway from that game was just our offense in that game looked a lot better, a lot smoother. LeBron is really, I think he's top 10 in assists right now. He's just been dishing out the ball every single game. The one thing that people don't really think about whenever like age kind of catches up to you is like, yeah, your physical skills decline, and obviously Bron is like he ain't Bron in his prime, right? He's not 2016 Heat, but bro, like that IQ is always going to be there. So his ability to kind of manipulate the defense and really be able to like showcase his ability, his mental ability, right? I think that's kind of what was put on display whenever we played the Spurs. And obviously, they're still a developing team. They're not like a too shabby opponent, but they're also not a quality opponent, I would say. But bro, winning in this game yesterday, man. If you guys don't know, I went to a basketball game with CJ yesterday. It was pretty dope.
Hook 'em, baby.
Yeah, it was a little Longhorns game. They were playing. Who were they playing?
Delaware State.
Yeah,
it was a
Delaware
small
State.
school, but nonetheless, still hoops.
Yeah,
they had a really good player on their team, number 0. I forgot his name. He was a lefty though, and the whole time, I think he dropped like 20, and it was cool because that was the first college basketball game I've seen in probably like 2 years, like in person. And like I've been saying to all like the our listeners and viewers, like watching college basketball games is definitely a cool experience because you usually don't have a player that's usually taking over. It's more so team based, like how ZD and I were kind of obviously having like our own little podcast during like the game, just kind of chopping it up, and we said that, and it's super dope because people. Like you can see someone on Delaware, like a school like Delaware State, still be able to get to it, and like we were saying that games like this going against a bigger school are kind of like essentially a showcase for them. You know what I mean? Kind of showing like because I'm pretty sure someone saw that and was like, "Who is this guy?" You know what I mean? Because we were saying that, and if we were saying that, I'm pretty sure other people like can probably see that as well.
You're saying he got a transfer. That's we were saying more than that. We were saying he got into the portal.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it's cool being able to watch those games. But yeah, shout out to Trey Johnson. I think he's a projected like for sure lottery pick. I don't know exactly where in it, but he's cold, bro.
Cool. Shout out.
I think he hit like anytime, bro. You already know. But it was cool because like it looked like he can do a little bit of everything. Shout out to Carlos, OP boy. He was saying at the beginning of the season, he was kind of like, "Oh, have you watched Trey Johnson play?" And I was like, "No, I haven't actually." And then literally, I think that night or earlier that morning or whatever, I watched. He dropped 38. So I think it was like in like a game earlier this season. I watched it and it was like kind of like how we were saying, it's a silent 38. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
he dropped 21, and like it was a silent 21. You know, it's like he's just hitting threes, like getting steals,
Yeah,
getting on
yeah.
a fast break, laying it up, getting and
Yeah,
ones. You know what I mean?
you got to dunk, bro. You
Dunked.
got to
Yeah,
punch.
yeah, he
Yeah, yeah.
punched it, so it was cool, and it looks like he's good. He's pretty good at rebounding, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I think he's a
For his
two
size.
guard. Yeah, I think he's a two guard.
Yeah.
I want to say
He's
so.
6'5".
Yeah, like I think we were
We were
talking
talking
about it.
about it.
Yeah, he's kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
combo guard. Like he's either gonna be a two or a one, depending on if he could get his like playmaking down
Yeah,
and stuff. But it was super dope, bro.
it was tough because like I think that game started at 9, and the reason we're talking about it is because it ended up
Running
our
into
teams were playing. Yeah, it was
yeah,
running into. I mean, I would love to hear kind of your viewpoint of the game. Obviously, I know you watched the third quarter like me, but kind of what I noticed going into the fourth is that like we had the game under control up until the fourth quarter. I would say the Lakers looked pretty good. I want to say, did we have the lead going into the fourth or no?
yeah, I think so. Let me check. I'm pretty sure y'all did
Because it
though.
was like, bro, it was tight. Like I was like, okay, bro, we're gonna be in this.
If
And
y'all
then the
didn't have
fourth
the
quarter,
lead, it was definitely a close game pretty much that whole
it
fourth
was within
quarter.
like 4 points.
Yeah. And it was in LA, right?
Yeah.
Let me check. Yeah, Shea had 36. Yeah, it was pretty for entering the fourth. It
I just think
was
it's really hard too with the Thunder. Like you can't double Shea if Jay Will's not hurt.
yeah. Yeah, it was
Because
71-69 OKC going into the fourth quarter. So 2-point game.
yeah, I saw a fucking a post game thing that JJ said. He was talking about how smooth Shea was, but he was saying like kind of like you were saying about Johnson, bro. Like the silent stuff. Like Shea again isn't really. He's not a Damian Lillard or a Curry. It's not super loud. If he were ever to get 60 points, he'd probably have like 20 free throws.
Yeah.
But bro, the way that he plays is like you just can't double. And what they do is they have him. I'm sure you noticed this too in the fourth. They have him at the nail, which is at the top of the free throw line.
Mhm.
And it's like free throw line extended at the top of the nail, and they just bring Shea down, and he can like post up or ISO from the middle. Because if you double from the middle, you can see everything.
Yeah.
So you can't really double in the middle of the court. If you double, you can double on the sides of the court, but I think that's really what killed us in the fourth quarter specifically. Like it's not the fact that obviously Shea is going to do his thing, but his 36 points were just brutal.
Yeah, I was about to say
more
it's
than
it for him too. I feel like it's when he scores them because he scored 15 in the fourth,
yeah.
so that was
Yeah.
a almost half of his points in the fourth quarter. You know, and
I
I feel
mean,
like
even still, we still gave it away in the fourth. Like we were right
yeah,
there.
no, y'all were. We
We
had
were
a
scoring.
we had
What's
a
up?
really bad second quarter. We only scored 19, and that was pretty much what kind of
No, both teams' defenses were on lock. That's another thing I was gonna say is the Lakers guarded, and
Yeah.
we haven't been able to play defense. That was my other two gripes in the other game that I didn't really get to, but I'm not gonna talk about it too much because I've been saying it. We can't really play defense, but yesterday we did.
yeah.
Just not against Shea. I
Yeah.
think, but that's what's cool about basketball is like, yeah, I appreciate that JJ said that because I think we lost because of Shea, but it's cool. We lost because Isaiah Hartenstein too, like you're saying, his passing, bro. It's just you can't really double him either because he'll kind of find whatever. Like if he gets a mismatch, he'll still pass the ball. So it's kind of crazy. It was cool to watch. It was a game within a game, if that makes sense, bro.
Right.
Because I know me and you didn't get a chance to watch the full game, but the fourth quarter was like literally a game within itself. So
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
No,
to our
yeah, bro,
viewers.
100%. Like from my takeaways from the game, pretty much just Isaiah Hartenstein has been exactly what we needed. Stepping up into starting
I'd say
center.
his contract.
100%. And like we have him for 4 years, so he's gonna be there for a while. And then just whenever Chet comes back, but I think this game, everyone knew Shea was MVP candidate pretty much, but I think this was just another case for him. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's silently working his way up, especially if the Thunder have been winning a lot of these games, and he's been dropping pretty much 30
I think
a game.
I think it's Jokic, Shea, and Tatum.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Tatum has been balling too, though.
Yeah.
So
I just think the Thunder, like for what Shea's had to go through again. Like not to say Boston's not a great team, but they're healthy.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with it though.
yeah.
Like No Chet, like that's kind of a lot, bro. Like that's a whole all-star.
Right.
Like I was thinking we talking about at the game, bro. I said the Thunder should have three, but not this year. But whenever they can get them all healthy,
Yeah.
they'll probably get three. I'm sure J-Dub will get an all-star nod this year too.
Oh yeah, that's what I was telling you too. I was like, all star this man, bro. All star
Yeah, I
him.
wrote it down because I wanted to talk to you about that. Like I think because I just said it, but I was like, you can't double Shea because of Jalen, Williams.
He's been hitting
And
down.
that's
I think the thing
yeah.
with J Dub and like Shea, they're kind of like a similar player. Like they could create their own shots, and like the thing that J Dub does better than Shea, I would say, is he's a better like knockdown shooter. Like you swing it down to him,
Hmm.
and he's like probably going, "Come on, bro, come on, bro." He's gonna bang that, you
Yeah,
know. And then
yeah.
Shea, pretty
Uh,
much anything from the free throw line down is like he could
yeah, down.
create his own
Exactly.
bucket, you know. But yeah, no, kind of like just take away from that was just yeah, I think Shea kind of has solidified himself as, I mean, we already knew this, but solidified himself as an MVP candidate.
Bro, I had another question going along with what you're saying. Like, is it hard to take notes on the Thunder? Because y'all have been so good. So it's not really like y'all are losing to quality opponents or anything like that. There's probably not too much to be like, wow.
Yeah,
That's why I kind of like
yeah.
watching the league because I don't know what I'm going to get. So
Mm,
there's like stuff to talk about. And I'm sure like low key, there might even be more stuff to talk about than the Thunder, probably, right? Because we kind
yeah,
of know where the Thunder are like,
yeah.
they're
Y-
going, bro.
Yeah, it is like kind of one of those things. Like it just, like we were saying before, like watching your team, it just kind of adds a little more. Like you just care a little more. So I'm like analyzing everything, and it's just the little stuff, like, oh, why are we not hitting our open jumpers? We only,
Breathe, yeah,
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 like I feel like that's the thing. Like with a lot of our like role players, they haven't been doing as well from the 3-point line. So like that kind of
yeah.
will put us in a little like hole at the beginnings of the game or whatever, trying to catch up. But um, just having a player like Shea that could kind of score at will, that helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that series, if it were to go to a playoff series, I think the Thunder would win in like six, especially if Caruso wasn't out there yesterday, right?
Yeah, Caruso is
And
injured.
bro, Casey Wallace was a demon too.
Hmm.
He really bothered Austin Reeves in the fourth quarter. And, Mark Dagnall's a hell of a coach too. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah. Yeah,
The
and then
Thunder,
kind of going back as well, the game before we played y'all, we went against Golden State, and that game, bro, I swear, anytime we play against Golden State, it's always
I
like a
watched that.
play, yeah, always a playoff like atmosphere. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
started watching
yeah,
that one. I wasn't watching the whole game, but I was like keeping up with it, obviously, and then I saw that we blew, so we had a 60-46 lead going into the third quarter.
yeah. Third quarter. Yeah, that's where like Andrew Wiggins, and like a couple other people started hooping for
Hooping,
sure.
bro. So
I was watching that the third quarter specifically, and then I
yeah.
turned it off.
Yeah, so it like situations like that, like I think I brought it up to you, you were saying like watching, my team, obviously they're in a good situation now, but just
Yeah,
like obviously we wouldn't want to blow that lead, right? But the fact that we're still able to scrape out with the dub still says a lot to me, and I feel like that is what we do. We're very good at doing. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like I said, you wouldn't want to lose that 24-point lead, but stuff happens.
yeah, it's
People
gonna
go on
happen.
runs. You stop making your
Yeah, it's gonna
shots. So, the fact that we're still able to tough it out, like it just like I said, like the playoff atmosphere type wins where you're having a, like okay, maybe Steph is going off right now. We can
right.
kind of figure out how to go about, slowing it down a little bit, doing the offense, because that is a great thing about having, top 5 player in the league. You kind of rely on them to take over a little bit, and Shea also dropped 35 that game, so
Yeah, bro.
it was great.
Yeah.
And I think that was the game that Hartenstein also had like the behind the back like pass to J Dub. It's just like effort
Mhm.
plays like that
Another double, bro. Just he has like four straight.
4 straight. Yeah, I think it's the most for or no, it's the second. He's tied for the second most for like
Right.
a Thunder debut or something like that. So, like I said, just him being kind of what we expected him to be. Fitting perfectly in with the team, and like you were saying, he can't stretch the floor as well as Chet, and he might not be offensively as well, but he's definitely a better rebounder, and I would say maybe even a better passer. So it kind of ends up working out. Just like his screens and stuff that he was setting. I saw like a little play on Twitter. It reminded me of like the Draymond type thing where he like passes it behind him and sets a screen essentially, and he just pulls it for the, you know what I mean? Kind of like those type of plays. Like, so I guess stuff that doesn't, like people that really probably don't pay attention to stuff like that, but like it's the little things, especially with a player like iHeart, So shout out to him, bro. He's definitely been probably one of my favorite players on the team so far this season, besides us, Shea and J-Dub, you know what I mean? Just because he's doing the things that, don't really go recognized, like catching lobs and getting like a big block or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's been super fun watching him play. I shout out to him. And he actually had a little scare last game. I think he fell on his back or something. So, that was something where I'm like, oh, no, not again. But he ended up coming back in and contributing, So super dope to see that, man.
No, that's what's up. I think, I got to watch a couple of the Thunder's games, but, that's the question I had for you, bro. It's just, like, watching them must get kind of, not boring, but, like you're saying, you have to look for the little things kind of to find what you can critique them on, because they have been winning games, and I don't know how easy their schedule has been, but they've also played a couple pretty good teams.
Yeah, and I feel like obviously we lost to the Spurs and stuff, so we're losing to some of the teams that's like, okay, we shouldn't probably be losing to them, but
bro, the Lakers play the Jazz tomorrow, so hopefully we can get an easy W.
Yeah, we play against the Rockets, so second team in the West. We'll see. The line right now is OKC 1.5. So
that's another bad line in my opinion. Like, I still think the Thunder are gonna win.
Yeah, we lost against the Spurs, the Mavs, Warriors, and Nuggets so far. So
I mean those are 4 pretty good teams.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just sucked. I was gonna say it sucked because when we lost against the Mavericks and the Spurs, I think they were like the 10th and 11th team in the West at the time. But obviously that's circumstantial. Like the Mavs kind of have been on a little heater right now. They've been doing really well without Luka in the lineup. So,
bro, at least you didn't lose to the Pistons earlier.
That's true. That's true. But was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we get into the?
Oh yeah, to the power forward.
Power forward, yeah.
Let's see. What else has gone on, man? I mean, we have like the end of group play coming up. Celtics probably gonna win their group pretty easy.
Yeah, I was about to say. I know that there's some teams that have already clinched to go to the elimination round. I think the Hawks have. Let me see. Standings.
Resurgence of Dyson Daniels.
Yes. For sure. The Rockets have clinched to go into the next round, and the Warriors have. So we got.
Oh my, the Rockets, yeah.
We got 3 teams already that have clinched. Orlando and the Knicks, they're still undefeated in their group play. I'm assuming they're probably about to play each other. They are next game. And then the Bucks and Pistons are undefeated. They're about to go against each other. And then we go against the Jazz, and the Spurs go against the Suns. So that group, Group B, is kind of up for grabs.
The Bucks have been I'm on hush mode about the Bucks. Like, we'll see.
Yeah,
because they've been winning.
They have been winning. Good. They have been going against a little bit of weaker teams, but yeah, like you said, they're winning the games they should be.
Yeah, or honestly, I think earlier in the year too that they might have been losing.
Yeah, for sure. They barely beat the Heat, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Lillard's been a hero. Like, I don't know what more you can really. That's one thing I had in my notes too. I was like,
damn, yeah, he had 37-12.
Yeah, can you trade Lillard for Simons? Like, I don't think so, but the fact that he's still doing this shit at that age, like, is just, it's awesome. Like, yeah. I respect that a lot, bro. Like, yeah. He's been inferno. Like, some of these games, I'm like, bro, if they didn't have Lillard, they're chalked.
Yeah, it'd be yeah, because Giannis actually didn't play that last game as well.
Yeah, he DNP'd. He's been DNPing too, bro. I don't know if he's like hurt.
Yeah, it
but
says
they
illness,
might just be,
so I think kind of what you
yeah,
were saying, like with Lamelo not playing as much back to backs as well, or kind of having your players that are a little injury prone,
load
or
management.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Then the Grizzlies too.
yeah, I was gonna say
Ja,
Grizzlies.
right?
They actually just won their first cup game yesterday. Shouts out to the Grizzlies.
Okay.
Kind of,
Where are they in the group?
I don't think they're.
Maybe not too high.
Yeah, I don't think they're too high. Let me check.
Shout out Taylor Jenkins, and obviously like the Grizzlies are the Grizzlies. They'll always be there.
They're 1-2 right now. So they contact. A lot has to work in their favor, but they're in the group with the Warriors, who clinched already, and the Mavs, who have a plus 41 point differential. So I don't think
Because
they'll
they blew.
advance.
Yeah.
But
I know. Yeah. The Mavs are like. Yeah. A lot of teams are like right there, dude. It's cool to watch. Like, I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but parity, it's just like it's nice to see. I don't know who's gonna win every game, so it's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and
Even the Hornets, dude, lost by one yesterday with no
yeah,
Lamelo.
yeah, that's right.
Good for the quality team.
But the
So,
Magic have been doing really good still. Shout out to Franz
oh my
Wagner.
gosh, so,
And I told you,
yeah,
because I was watching that game a little bit before we went out to the UT game. It's crazy. They're running like sets for him already. Like I told you,
yeah,
like
bro,
down
you told me
screens,
that.
curling, like easy
I
layup.
actually watched that one at 2. I
Hmm.
was rewatching some of that. I actually had it in my notes. I had a question for you about Franz. I was gonna bring him up. Like, do you think he's like gonna be for sure All Star? And if not, there's gonna be some waves through the community. Cause
Yeah,
ain't no way, bro. Bro, he's a Prize Picks All Star, by the way. Like his
really.
lines are still too low. Yeah, bro. Like,
Yeah, I was about to say, I think so, especially if he keeps this up. Obviously, we don't know what him and Powell are going to look like, but I'm excited to see what that is. I mean, I definitely think like they've seen his progression and how well he's been doing this season. I think they're going to keep riding with him and then trying
yeah.
to figure
Another
out.
thing I had in my notes, dude. I wanted to see if you agree with this as well. Like, it seems like he needed this, bro, for whatever reason. Like, no Paolo, not nobody really holding him back. Like everybody telling him to go. It
Yeah.
seems like it's kind of like a Laurie Marketing thing. I was gonna tell you kind of what happened when he went. He had that really good FIBA year, and
Hmm.
he just came back really confident and stuff like that that can like change your life. So
Yeah.
shout out Franz.
Yeah. He's going crazy, bro. He's averaging
Yeah,
24. Yeah. He's been balling out, and it's like efficient.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, bro. He's just and he's the like you're saying. It's like when good teams are having issues guarding you, then you know you're good, right? Like it's kind of like the Lamelo thing. Even though he's not on the best team, he still cooks. Drew Holiday, some of the best defenders in the world. So
yeah.
same with Franz. Like the Magic aren't crazy, but I think they're gonna go deeper than they did last year, bro. In the
Hopefully.
playoffs for sure. They're not gonna score 80 points in a game 7
Mm.
again.
Yeah, I don't think
They
so.
won't.
And their defense is
They
still
won't.
top tier, so
Yeah, they. I know, literally, bro. The next time they get back to the Pacific, we can't score that. Like we
yeah.
gotta put up some points, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out the Magic, bro. They've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, it's cool seeing them, get better and like the progression that they've had throughout the season. Like obviously they had a couple down years, but even when they're down years, they were still like an exciting team to watch. Like
Mm-hmm.
they weren't
Yeah,
like super well, they were like in the lottery and stuff, but it was they still had the young talent trying to figure it out. So it's cool that they were able to, go from like the Dwight Howard years to like rebuilding
right.
to like the Vucevic, and then they
Yeah,
traded.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, bro, I was thinking too. One last one that I had. Timberwolves, man. Just you see what Ant said about how they're just a bunch of little kids playing out there.
crazy that he's saying it because he's probably the youngest player, like one of the younger players on the team too. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
yeah. What'd you think about that? I want to see your kind of thoughts on that.
I'll be real, bro. I also think people are just so quick. Like, if something doesn't work out in 10 days, they're just throw it away. Like it's like people are so used to having that instant gratification. I think that this experiment could take a couple of years, and that honestly, that's okay. Like Julius Randle's what, like, he's approaching 30. I think he is 30.
Let me
I
check.
don't know how old he is,
He
but
is 30.
Yeah, their window's closing, but I think they have 1 to 2 years to try to figure it out
Mm.
before it's completely close. I think they have to be patient. I think even if this year isn't horrible for them, let's go get another good pick. Like Rob's been playing a lot better too, man. I don't know if you've seen that, but they've been playing Rob a little bit more, and he's been doing better. But just getting a better draft pick can't hurt the Timberwolves either. And
Yeah.
they have their picks. I mean, they did trade a lot of them away to get obviously Gobert,
Hmm.
but they still they've done okay, especially with their future ones. They didn't trade any of the 2028s or anything like that. I think
Yeah.
the 2020s traded, but it's important to keep those kind of like what the Thunder. It's the Thunder method, bro. You always have to remember, like in 2030, bro, that those picks will matter. So if the Timberwolves suck this year, bro, so be it. That's honestly my like it. I mean, they
The
haven't.
I was gonna say, does that like just seeing the success of the team from the past for since last season, is that not as a fan, does that not make you upset at all?
I mean, it's funny. Me and you don't really talk about it. Like, we're not fans of the Timberwolves at all. Like, I know me and you are not. Like, oh my gosh, So it's funny that you asked that. 'Cause I would assume so. Like, if you're a Timberwolves fan right now, you're kind of going through it. But just be mindful. You have a completely different team now with honestly a different like talent group, bro. Like Julius Randle can't really do what Cat does, and kind
Mm.
of vice versa. So you got to kind of figure out how you're going to be able to use those pieces and how they can be successful together. But bro, Ant looks pissed. He's been
Yeah.
doing a lot. I think they lost the Kings the other night, and
Hmm. Yeah, they
it's tough
they
because he's
barely
putting up.
won their last game by 1 point. It was
Yeah,
against the Clippers, so 93
yeah.
92.
The Clippers are quality.
Yeah.
They're a quality team though.
No, yeah, they are for sure. LaMelo Ball out for at least 2 weeks with calf strain.
Okay, yeah. So he was hurt, huh?
Yeah, he was hurt.
Okay.
And then Giannis to return against the Wizards tonight. So
Yeah, I saw the spread. It was like 15 and a half. I was like, okay, Giannis must be
he must
in
be,
there.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it would be like 8 if he wasn't. But
Yeah,
Giannis adds like, bro, he adds like 6 points to the spread because he scores like 30.
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think we're gonna talk about him in our next segment. He's kind of one of those. Again, he's kind of just he gets his skills get swept under the rug a lot of years, but he's been awesome for the last 5 to 10 years, right? Like
Mm,
watching him every single game, it's just like I know he's gonna get 30.
yep. Well, all right, sir. I think going into our next segment, ranking the
Yeah,
power forwards, starting powered so far this season. I was talking to ZD about it earlier. There have been obviously a lot of injuries throughout this whole season, so there's gonna be another repeat player in here. If y'all recognize it, y'all recognize it. If y'all don't, well, you don't. But obviously,
yeah, yeah,
I know it as I'm going through it, and I
yeah.
messed up on a couple players just because. Obviously, power forward is probably one of the more versatile positions because some teams, just depending on their lineups and their depth
You
chart,
know,
will have a small forward or even a shooting guard playing power forward. So a lot is kind of mixed up, but like I said, I'm trying to do my best of keeping up with who's doing what position. But obviously, I'll mess up every now and then. But going into it, sir, the first player that I would like y'all to or like you to rank is OG Anunoby.
this season I would say he's been like B tier. I think his defense has been awesome. He did have 40 the other day, so if he can figure out a way to score more, that would be dope too. But yeah, like that game kind of showed me what that's an A tier player right there. Like that 40-point OG Anunoby, bro. That's scary. But we're not getting that often. In fact, I want to say that was his career high.
That was his career high, and it was against the
Man.
Nuggets too. They were kind of blowing
I
him.
know, shout out OG, bro. Good player for sure. He's been playing okay this year, but you also have to be mindful of his injuries and kind of the way that you have to use him. He's not the biggest offensive threat, but he can score. Yeah, but B tier, solid. But I know there's good power forwards, definitely better ones than him
You said B tier.
in this league. Yeah,
Gotcha. What about Peyton Watson?
C tier. I mean, bro, he's just a defensive menace, but that's about it. And he's really athletic. But he's really fun to watch. If you guys get a chance to watch Peyton Watson play, it's like he's just this defensive machine, and then he can get dunks and blocks. That's about it. And his offensive game is very limited in terms of shooting, and I think that's kind of what they need from him. I mean, Jokic, that quote rings in my head. He's just like, we're just inconsistent. We're streaky. We don't have anybody who can really shoot. But outside of that, bro, I think he's a solid player. But bro, yeah, if I have OG in the B category, bro, Peyton Watson, definitely a C tier player. But he's improving and he's developing.
Gotcha. What about Patrick Williams?
Pat Will has been a lot better in the last couple of years. I think a year or two ago, he's in a contract year. This season, I would have to put him in the C tier. He hasn't been like amazing, but he's, what's crazy is like I think the last couple seasons he's been better. But he's a solid piece. You can run him out there for 20, 30 minutes, and he might give you 15 points on a good night. But aside from his defensive effort, again, a lot of these guys like they're very good at playing defense. They're very switchable. Like what CJ was saying is they're just versatile, so you can play them wherever. Pat Will is another one of those guys where it's like he's still got some developing to do, but hopefully he turns into the player that I know he can be because he's really good on offense. He just doesn't really show that.
Show it, yeah.
Sometimes, but not all the time.
Gotcha.
Shout out Pat Will.
What about Keegan Murray? Which I was actually very surprised that he plays power forward because, like I said, obviously I'm going through it.
He's in the B tier. I would say he's been pretty good this season. He's been consistent. He is somebody who can shoot, luckily, and he's okay on defense. He's not a superstar offensively, but you have to remember the role that he's playing on that team. De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis are pretty much the offense, right? Keegan Murray, all he needs to do is hit corner threes, hit the shots that he's given and play good defense. And, he's been doing that. He's also young. He's still developing. He's definitely much better than his brother Chris. But, I think he has to be in the B tier as well. He's kind of similar to OG Anunoby in terms of, like, win value. I would say, like, they're kind of similar players in that regard.
Yes, sir. What about Moussa Diabate?
Yeah, bro, you're talking about it off camera, but Diabate is a great rebounder, but that's about it. And he can guard a little bit, but I'm gonna have to go with the C tier as well. I think that's what I said off camera as well. But he's still developing, man. He kind of got thrust in there because obviously they have injuries. Miles Bridges, and he can be Miles Bridges is the B tier player if he's on. You know what I'm saying? Like he can be pretty good. He can give you 20. But Diabate is not going to give you 20. But what he can do is give you 20 rebounds.
He sure
that's
can.
Really valuable, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big deal in the NBA, and that's why he's out there. But yeah, no, definitely a C tier player.
Gotcha. What about PJ Washington?
PJ, my guy, B tier for sure. This dude has been one of the better signings in the last 5 years, I would say, for the Mavs. Just for team fit, I think he was for them to really see that and believe in him and be like, nah, we're going to get you out of Charlotte. Make sure you can come play on a contender. And clearly the last 2 years, I mean, nobody questions if PJ Washington is a win player anymore. He obviously is. I know he'd be killing the Thunder, bro. He's similar, bro. 3-and-D wing. He can play defense and he can hit threes. And, at times he's streaky as well. But when he's on, bro, he's a dangerous player for sure. Because he's the type where if Kyrie and Luka have 30 apiece, that's one thing. But when you add PJ's 20, that's a whole issue.
It's a whole other, yep.
Yeah, he's a B tier player. He's solid.
Gotcha.
PJ's solid.
What about Ochai Agbaji?
Bro, Agbaji, bro, this dude's coming out of Kansas, and it's crazy because he was in Utah, and now he plays for the Raptors.
The Raptors, yep.
Yeah. I would have to say, bro, I haven't seen him play a ton, but I will say, like, he doesn't seem to be developing too much. Like, I have to put him in the C tier. His offensive game really hasn't developed, like, blossomed into what like, for example, Grady Dick. Like, that's the next step up, right? Like, you see it. You can see his development and off the one dribble, two dribble pull up, right? Like, Agbaji's still not there. And, he's still young. Luckily, he still has time, but yeah, no, I think he's a solid option, but he's not, gonna knock your socks off or anything. So,
right. What about John Collins?
Man, John, bro, I feel like John was a lot better on the Hawks. just a way better fit for that team. He's unfortunately a C-tier player this year. Like he hasn't been, super for where he's played and what I've seen him do. He's completely like a different player for the Jazz, and that's unfortunate because obviously Trae Young was kind of why he was able to do what he was doing. But he's another player where it's like he's been in the league for a couple of years and like he kind of is what he's gonna be. John Collins isn't gonna get much better out of nowhere. So unfortunately, if things keep going the way that they're going, we'll kind of, you know, always wonder what would John Collins be like on a contending team. But for now, he has to be in the C tier.
Cool, cool. What about Tobias Harris?
So Tobias been low key hooping. I don't know if you've been seeing it, man, but he's been helping the Pistons out whenever possible. I want to say, like, let's look at his averages. I'm not sure. He's another player. So last year, had one of the worst years for the Sixers. Was a free agent. Obviously, was looking to go somewhere else because Philly's a hard place to play, and people don't necessarily want to hear those boos. Ended up going to Detroit, somewhere where he's been before, and bro, getting top 100 scoring production. He averages 7 rebounds right now. Like, can't really complain with that, especially for an aging veteran who, again, is already kind of past his prime, right? That's another kind of important tidbit. And this is like he's not getting young. He's not getting any younger. Tobias Harris is what he is. He's been good, bro. I would have to put him in the B tier. A lot more solid than those other players. Like he's been solid.
Yes, sir. What about Derek Jones Jr.?
Another player, man, where on the Mavs, this was a B tier player. He was flying around, being utilized properly, but now that he's on the Bulls, it just there's not really much for him to do. Or he's on the Clips, right?
Clips, yeah.
Yeah, Clips. Yeah, he's on the Clips. There's not really I don't really see their. I mean, I can kind of see what they were trying to do. Like James Harden's similar to Luka the way that he plays, but James Harden just doesn't get as many people as involved as Luka does, in my opinion, especially at the tail end of his career. So from what I've watched, I feel like Trey Man's even been a little bit better than DJJ this year. But yeah, bro, like a C tier player that again I don't really know why he ever left the Mavs. They were in the finals,
Yeah, he helped them a lot through their run too.
Yeah, bro. So to me, it seemed like that was kind of a head scratcher. I don't know why he went to the Clippers, but he's a C tier.
What about Haywood Highsmith?
Bro, Haywood Highsmith is the GOAT of all GOATs, bro. He's always ready to suit up. That dude's going to be in the lineup regardless. He's always been a player who's like, he's just available. Haywood Highsmith, I always see in the lineup, and I'm like, who the hell is this dude?
Right.
He ain't going to knock your socks off, all right? He's definitely a C-tier player.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a consistent, bench player, and there's not a lot of people or not a lot of guys in the NBA who can say they're consistent. So at least you know what you're getting from Highsmith, and he can guard, and that's what the Heat need. He's literally the definition of Heat culture. He's grinded his way to his position, and he's gonna get paid because of that.
Yeah. You said he's a C? Absolutely. What about Jeremiah Robinson Earl? Also one of those other players
Earl.
that have been playing because of injuries on the Pelicans.
Right. He's been okay, but again, bro, like the drop off from Zion, right, to Jeremiah Robinson Earl is gonna be felt. Mm-hmm. I think he's a C-tier player. Did he play for the Thunder?
He did play for the Thunder.
Okay. What did you think about him whenever you saw him?
I mean, he was one of those players where if we had no big man or something, he could get quality minutes, but I don't think
he's the player he is.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't developed.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. Because I watched him on Thunder. I was like, okay, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, let's see what he's about. But I think he is what he is, and that's a sufficient backup big. And he can guard a little bit, he can shoot a little bit as well. He got a better touch than some of these guys. But yeah, man, just a C-tier player, but he's still good.
Yeah.
He's still good.
What about Dorian Finney-Smith?
Finney-Smith. I mean, hey, bro. what can I say? Another B tier power forward, bro. One of the premier power. Like people want Finney Smith on their squad for sure.
Yeah.
I know they get a lot of calls, and the Nets get a lot of calls about DFS. He's not getting any younger. I will say he's kind of at his max value, like he is what he's going to be, a 3 and D type of guy. But man, that's so valuable in today's day and age. And he's not quite an A-tier player, obviously, because that's reserved for bucket getters. But bro, he's a great, great power forward and a lot better options that we've been talking about, the last couple picks. So gotta give DFS my props for sure. And he's one of those players where when he left the Mavericks, he made the same impact. Like he's still the same player. He didn't. There was no drop off with him. He just left playing with Luka, but he still does the same things.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah. What about Jeremy Grant?
Grant's been solid, but that contract was horrible whenever they signed it. Other than that, I think he's been a B tier player too. But again, like when they signed that contract, they were thinking he was going to be a 20 points per game all the time, and that's just not who he is. So he kind of finessed the bag a little bit, but for what they've needed, bro, and for where the Blazers are headed, bro, yeah, he's been consistent and he can give you good scoring. And that's not he's one of the better scorers in the NBA when he's on, but just his consistency every night, 15 to 20 a game, it's hard to pass that up. His efficiency isn't great, but yeah, but he's solid. B tier for sure.
What about Pascal Siakam?
Dude, this one's really tough because I've been watching him, bro, and he hasn't, been the all-star Pascal, obviously, on the Raptors, right? But he's still pretty solid. But, bro, honestly, I need to take a peek because he's somebody we got to critique kind of hard because he's been an all-star before, bro. So it's like we got to see this because I don't want to put him in the A tier if he's not really doing his thing.
Right. And
I've seen
no one is in the A tier right now, as of right now.
Yeah, nobody.
It's just been C's and B's.
You know what? Okay, yeah. No, Pascal's an A tier player. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm gonna put him in the A tier. This is our first A tier player.
First A tier.
Reason being is he can guard, but consistency that he gives you on offense and just his efficiency every single night is just it's second to none. And again, just his length, pause, but just the way that he can guard is it's so premier at his position. And the other thing that I think that was really good for the Pacers is they really found somebody that like doesn't, I guess, take away from Tyrese Halliburton's talents. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton hasn't been great this season, but I will say that out of all the players on that team, Pascal's probably been the most consistent over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Since he's been traded. So.
Gotcha.
First A tier player.
First A tier, yes, sir. What about Draymond Green?
Bro, Draymond's been hooping this year. I'm putting him in the A tier too. This dude just pass, rebound, defend, and does it at such a high level for the Warriors right now. I mean, he's one of the reasons why the Warriors are winning games, right? Like, Curry's been hurt, obviously, so they haven't won a ton recently, and they're slipping. They're for sure slipping. Earlier this season, it was very clear to me, kind of, okay, this is the plan. We're going to have Draymond, Buddy Hield, right? Stephen Curry. We're going to still have our young guys, Kuminga, all those guys, but Draymond Green's been playing at, some of the best basketball of his career.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think he's been shooting the three ball really well as well.
I'm going to say he's been shooting the three the best, I think, in the best in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's awesome. Like, that's somebody that I want, and he's better than a lot of these guys that we've said. And honestly, his passing is the best on the list so far. So, I mean, I'm taking Draymond, no doubt. And the antics, too, haven't been as crazy this year, thankfully.
Yeah.
He's been staying out of trouble.
What about Jalen Johnson?
Oh, yeah. A tier. This dude's band tier. This dude's better than Pascal and Draymond Green this season. And remember, this is for only this season, okay?
Yeah. Right,
so
far.
But Jalen Johnson's been the best player on this list in my opinion. You could almost put him in S tier. You know, I'm gonna put him in S tier. I think him and you know what? He gets a bump because I think him and somebody else and Jokic are the only players. I think it's Luka maybe. It's like
Oh,
2010 and 5.
yeah.
Those are the only three players.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, Jokic, and Doncic. So
That's a great
that goes.
company to be in.
Oh, are you kidding me? At his age, dude. Yeah, and I mean he's been an S tier player this season. I'm tripping. Like he's been awesome. Like he's been awesome. He's an S tier player this season, bro.
What
And
about
I want
what about Harrison Barnes?
HB B tier, bro, but solid veteran again. Like I wasn't really he just won Player of the Week this past week. I wasn't expecting some of the stuff we've been seeing from HB. So shout out Harrison Barnes, bro. I really did not expect him to be any contributing factor, but he's been giving them 12, 14 points a game, and he's been consistent, man. Like, he won Player of the Week. I think he was averaging 20 for the week, like
Yeah.
on pretty efficient shooting. And again, if the Spurs need that, bro, they need the veterans to be able to help the younger guys that they have on the squad progress. But yeah, I mean, he's Jalen Johnson, right? But oh, I mean, he's awesome. I mean, he's solid. B tier for sure.
Yes, sir. What about Caleb Martin?
Caleb has been okay as well. He's been okay. Caleb, Caleb's in the B tier. He's at the lower end, but he's in the end. He's in that pool as well. He's been pretty good. He shoots the three well, and he's always defending really hard, which I like about Caleb. Like the Martin brothers, really. One of the things I like about the way that they play is just they always play with high level effort. They kind of remind me of like Westbrook, honestly, in that way. Like they kind of just move all the way around the court, bro. They be guarding everybody. They be shooting threes. You know what I'm saying? I like the way that he plays, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The few games that I've watched too, he's been like a more of a playmaker, and that's kind of what I've been looking for. Like obviously, he got signed 40 something $million, but it's kind of like, okay, what else can you bring to the table other than shooting threes and playing defense? And seeing him pass the rock has been dope.
What about
No, what's your
Julius Randle?
bro, yeah, he's an A-tier player, but gotta put him at the end this season. He hasn't been amazing. I give him some slack. He's on a new team, bro. He's still figuring out kind of the way Ant plays, the way Gobert plays. We were just talking about them 30 minutes ago, right? And their kind of issues that they've had on the court. But he's been good, bro. He's still giving you 15 to 20 points a game, couple boards, right? And that's kind of what the Timberwolves were looking for. I think he's been what they've looked like. I think Julius Randle's actually been what they've been looking for, but I don't know if Dante DiVincenzo has really panned out for them. I think they were expecting a little bit more from him, and it kind of sucks that he hasn't really been what he's supposed to be. But that's not Julius Randle's fault, bro. He's been pretty solid, and he hit that game winner against the Suns earlier this year. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sure did. He's definitely had his moments throughout the season.
Yeah, bro. He's been pretty good.
What about Evan Mobley?
Mobley's been S tier this year. I mean, dude, the Cavs are so good because of him and Mitchell and all the their core is so strong. But with no Mobley, I feel like they would really not win as many games just because the impact that he has on the defensive end more than his offensive. But his offensive game is clearly developing, man. And it's been cool to see him shoot a little bit more, but also just handle the ball, because I don't think he has to shoot threes, but I think he does have to be able to dribble into the paint from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really something that people don't think about. It's it's one thing to be able to stretch the defense, sure, but can you even break them down? Break off the dribble. So yeah, bro, I feel like Mobley's been awesome. He's been one of the main reasons the Cavs have been so good this year. So I gotta put him in. He's S tier, bro. S tier.
Esther?
He might even be an all. Yeah, I think he might even be an all-star this year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This season, he's been S tier.
Yeah. What about Kyle Kuzma?
Kuz has been B tier. He seems a little bit disengaged. I don't really. Jordan Poole looks great, but Kyle Kuzma still looks like he's starting off slow out of the gate. And the Wizards just don't really have the pieces around him to supplement that. So if Kyle Kuzma's not hitting shots, you could really see it in his face, his body language. But he's been okay, but he's still better than a lot of the C tier players that we've talked about, right? Can stretch the floor. And when he's hitting shots, he's still dangerous. So I got to put him in the B tier. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I try to not watch as many Wizards games as possible. It's pretty bad basketball.
Yeah. What about Jabari Smith Jr.?
Oh, Jabari Smith has been solid. Probably B tier again too. He's been solid. I still think he has a ways to go before his offensive game is really polished. I think that's kind of what they're waiting. Like, again, Sengun is so polished, bro. Like he can give anybody 20 to 30, but Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, like those guys, they got to really be hitting their shots to get that, and it just goes to show you that they're more of a, they're very streaky, like they're more of microwave type players. But his defensive impact has been awesome, and obviously Tari Easton and Amen they've been crazy. So just having that little core, bro, in Houston's been good for him, and I'm sure he'll continue to develop. But yeah, he's been B tier this year, bro. Every time I watch him, I'm kind of like, oh, there's Jabari Smith Jr., but I'm not like, wow, there's Jabari Smith Jr.
Right. What about Jason Tatum?
S tier. I mean, MVP candidate, the best player on this list so far. There's not really much to say about him other than more power to him, bro. I hate the Celtics, but JT's been balling, bro. I'm not a bias against hoopers, and yeah. I mean, what more can you really say? I mean, he's the ultimate 3-and-D player. He can shoot 40% from deep. He can guard anybody, and he gives you 30 a night. I mean, what more do you want? And there's not another player in the NBA right now that I would say is of that caliber. He's probably, I mean, so far he's been the best player on this list, but he might even be the best player on this list.
Yeah.
As we continue. So just to show you, bro, he's auto S tier. There's no question.
What about Jalen Williams?
J-Dub.
Bro.
S tier. S tier now. All-star potentially. First year. But there's nobody else in the league that can do what he does at his size. Remember, he's not Jason Tatum. He's not 6'9", right? JT 6'9", 6'10" basketball shoes. J-Dub go out there, he's 6'6", 6'7" at most, right? But
he was playing center for us.
Yeah, bro. And his defensive ability and his three-point shooting ability, amazing. The one thing that I will say that J-Dub has, too, over a lot of these guys is a nice handle. He really can break his opponent down off the dribble and to the bucket whenever he wants to. And he shoots about 40% from deep and 75, 80% from the line. So what more could you want, bro? He's another player where he's going to outplay his value of the contract. Like, whatever they sign him for, it'll be worth it because it'll be, like, not enough.
Right.
For sure.
Shout out
Same with Shea.
What about...
Dude, I was actually, before we get into this next player, what do you think the Thunder going to do when that day comes, bro?
That is a day that I'm dreading to happen because I know that we're gonna have to probably let one of them walk, because you gotta think Shea, Chet, J-Dub, plus like our role players that we already have locked in. Yeah. It's gonna get a little dicey in a couple years.
I feel like they could have a Brunson thing. Like Shea might take less money. Somebody might take less money.
Yeah, I wouldn't put past them, especially just how they play as a team, and you could tell they are like a unit, you know. So I wouldn't doubt someone taking less, but you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of like you were saying when we're at the college, like NBA is kind of based off of like, hey, I'm trying to feed my family, I'm trying to put myself in a position.
You're not gonna hate,
right?
Yeah.
So
if you get $300 million, for sure, yeah.
But no, I'm not gonna lie. I think I kind of was. I've talked about it throughout the years and stuff, and sadly, it just sucks seeing how good J-Dub is becoming, because we were gonna have to pay him regardless, but now it's like we're gonna have to pay him a big contract.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm dreading that day to come, because it is just a matter of time, and I don't know how exactly.
I believe in Preston, though, and I will say I truly believe again that those guys that they have on that roster right now, like whatever checkbook you want to sign for, that's fine, but just know they're gonna outplay that number.
Right.
So you're just gonna get more value. Like even if you sign Jada to $240 million, I think he could be a $280 million player. Like that gap is still massive. So it's fun. But yeah, it was an interesting question for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been awesome. He's been awesome, bro.
What about Giannis?
Another S tier player where again it's hard to like argue his ascension. Like I don't think there's anybody like you don't see anybody anymore on Twitter questioning like, oh, can he dribble? Can he do this? Can he do that? Like we've just seen him Finals MVP, NBA champion. I mean, his resume is massive, but the things that he's doing on a night to night basis, it's still just mind boggling. I mean, watching him go down, he's probably the scariest player besides prime LeBron James to be going full speed at you.
Yeah.
Probably Giannis Antetokounmpo, bro, no doubt. Like that dude is 3 steps from the half court line. But he's actually, you know, we were talking about it a little bit earlier in the other side. The Bucks have just been winning, and he hasn't really been playing too much, but I think he's contributed to that locker room. Like the way they see the way that he's playing, he's been playing this year, and he's been the only one. I think he had a game where he was a plus minus of 0, and they lost by 30. So that means when he was on the court, like it's all Giannis, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. What about KD?
He's been S tier too, bro. Like he's another one where he's an alien. We could put him even in the alien tier if you want me to be honest with you, because I think this is year 17 for him, and he's playing like one of the best versions. I would say, other than Thunder KD, obviously MVP KD, like these Suns versions of KD, like later Brooklyn years, they've been like a foot on the line. Brooklyn years, so cold, bro. Like post Achilles. I think we've talked about it before. Him and PG are the only players to have like an increase in points per game after. It's just like it doesn't even make sense. But he's been like the model of hyper efficiency, and like he got hurt for 2 weeks, but I think he's still shooting damn near 50-40-90, averaging 25 on like 13 shots a game.
Yep. Crazy.
So it's just
What about Wendell Carter Jr.?
Man, was Wendell hurt earlier a little bit?
I think so. Let me just double check.
I didn't see him earlier this year, but I've seen him recently, and he's looked okay. I'm not gonna put him in the B tier yet. He's in the C tier, but I think if he keeps playing, like he was never going to be an all-star. I don't like people kind of drafted him early. I want to say he got drafted early by the Bulls, and it didn't really pan out there. And the Bulls, I actually have had a couple good draft picks that ended up working out on some other teams like Markkanen, but just didn't keep them because the Bulls organization isn't like their management's not amazing. But point is like he's been trying to figure out his way ever since, and I just think the more like court time he can see, the more he'll develop. And shout out Wendell Carter Jr. man, Dookie, definitely a bucket. And he's a C tier player, but I think he could turn into a B tier player for sure. And he's definitely on the younger side as well.
Yep. What about Jaren Jackson Jr.?
A tier player, bro. Right on the verge of being S tier. I think he's been like really, 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 really good, but I don't know if he's gonna be like a all-star this year. There's been other years where he looks a little bit better on defense and some of the counting stats or whatever you want to say, but his development on offense, bro, I mean, it's literally a revelation, bro. Like for Jaren Jackson to become 18, 20 points per game. I know Taylor Jenkins like completely changed the way Memphis plays basketball, but I know seeing his like development over the last 4 years, and I'm sure you've watched it too. Like when he first came in, he didn't really know what he was doing. I think he played at Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken, and just like he's just struggled to really shoot the ball or just find his play, like just where to go. He was just really athletic, really good high school player. But he ended up working out in the NBA, bro. So it's cool to see him play like with confidence now. And he hits threes, right? And he rebounds and he defends. And I think he's really close to being S tier, but he's just got to work a little bit more on his handle. He's not like the best ISO scorer, but he's more of like a 1-2 dribble type of guy, dunk it on your head, shoot or whatever. But he's been awesome too this year, truly.
And I saved this one for last, sir. LeBron James.
I mean, is anybody 40 years old doing what he's doing, bro? S tier. Come on, bro. I mean, lead it. I mean, he's top 10 in assists right now, and I want to say he's averaging about what, like, nothing too crazy, but it's like 20 a game, maybe. So I think that's the highest. I mean, for any player above 38, but like nobody's ever done what he's doing right now with the mileage that he has, and I just have to give him that bump just because, again, like we've never seen something like this before. It's just it kind of reminds me of Durant. It kind of makes me laugh a little because you almost wonder when it's gonna end.
Right.
Almost. Like I just don't. I watch the Suns. It's cool that you ended with Bron because I was watching the Suns and when Katie's in and they always like we always talk about it, but whenever those guys play, I'm always like I just don't know when this will be like the last time, and then you won't know either. I feel like we're not gonna have farewell tours for them. They're gonna like retire after the season, and you won't really know.
Yeah.
It might be like that type of shit, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. But I gotta put him in the S tier. I mean, he's my Lake Show brother, but he's also just we haven't seen anybody do what he's doing at his age, and I don't know if we ever will.
I'm not too sure. I don't think so.
No.
So power forward
four
list.
Straight doubles, bro.
Yeah. I was gonna say power forward list is looking really good. We have 7 people right now in the S tier so far this season, which is really good. From the small forward list where we only had one, which was Jaylen Brown. So
yeah,
I think it just goes to show, like I said, the versatility of the forwards nowadays, especially power forwards. They kind of shift all the way from shooting guards to centers. They all kind of, depending on their team and the depth chart, whenever whoever's injured or whoever, they're able to adapt and kind of put their person at the 4-man. Okay, like you could guard a bigger forwards, bro. Or you could guard kind of like the guards that are big enough to be a power forward, but can only rebound or defend, or so it's cool seeing that.
Yeah,
the power forward position is I would say in a pretty good spot. And it's only going to get better with all this talent. Yeah. Cooper Flag coming in. Paolo is essentially a power forward. You know what I mean? So even another player that I think I might have brought it up, but Scotty Barnes as well. Like he's essentially a power forward, but he plays as a point guard. So it's kind of all over the place. So it's super versatile position.
Yeah.
And
Swiss Army knife for sure.
I think kind of just ending off, I meant to ask it to you before, kind of like how I asked you with the small forward position, but as a power forward, what kind of are you looking for in out of your power forward?
Bro, I mean, kind of like we were kind of doing I forget who it was. It was like this basketball account, but it was like it had like the archetypes or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm looking for preferably 3-and-D. Honestly, like I need somebody who can guard. Preferably like that's like what they prefer to do, and then somebody who's able to shoot. If you can do those 2 things for me, I think you could play for me. I would like obviously to have a Jason Tatum, an ISO scorer, but those are pretty rare. I think I'm more in the line of Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Like those are the guys I like. I feel like those guys have just as much value as an all-star. They're just not an all-star, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like where I'm more headed. Like I really like guys who can guard and shoot the 3, obviously, but the more playmaking you can add, the better. Like Jalen Johnson, bro, with the assists or whoever, it's just like that just adds a whole nother dimension that's just not there. So especially for bigger guys, right? Like we're not expecting centers to get an assist. That's why Jokic is just so bananas.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I agree.
What about you, bro?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, I was about to say kind of like a good defender that it. Ideally, if you can be an ISO scorer, but I just kind of want my power forward to be able to knock down shots if he's open and not like just clog up the paint. You know what I mean? And just kind of be able to defend 1 through 5. You know what I mean? Like he's not a liability on the perimeter. Like he won't be getting beat every single time off of a quick guard, but he can also kind of bang with a big man as well. And I feel like the 4 position is kind of like the mix of everything. Obviously, small forward as well, but power forward, I feel like it kind of is more guarding like the big mans and stuff and banging with them and being able to get boards too. Like obviously, we're not expecting 15 boards from our power forward, but if you can, that's perfect. You know, like a Evan
Yeah,
Mobley
right. Yeah, the more the merrier.
or
For
even a
real.
Giannis. You know, so probably like with like that type of archetype, kind of like a
Okay.
like a Swiss Army knife essentially.
For sure, Ski. For sure.
But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's dope. That's what's up. You'll have to send me
yeah, you know I will. I'll send
little
it to you right after the pod. But yeah,
yeah.
no, it was there.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post them in the carousel.
Right.
Like we'll be able to scroll through, see all the positions, and
Right.
it's easy.
Bet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, was there anything else that you wanted to let the audience know, or any last
We got
thoughts?
some games tonight. We're doing this at say like right now. So like the games are going right now. We got some hoops games that we obviously can't talk about because they haven't finished. But I'm excited. I mean, I think the game of the night for me, I was looking at it. It was there was a Hornets game, Hornets Hawks, that I was excited to watch. I think that's going on right now.
Mm,
Just LaMelo and Jalen Johnson, Trey. Trey's been going kind of crazy too, man. So like the efficiency is not amazing, but he's averaging like the most assists since like Stockton.
I saw that.
Something crazy, bro. But he's diming everybody up, and super fun basketball. So yeah, bro, I'm excited. I think I'm gonna watch Giannis too. I'm gonna be locked into the UT A&M game. And
Right.
just have a good rest of my night, bro. Nothing too crazy.
Bet, yeah. Yeah, no, if y'all like this episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on 3Man Weave on all social medias. We'll have it in the description down below. And shout out to Outlier Bet.
Hey, this is my 3-point Sully, bro. This and then this.
Okay. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace. Thunder up.
Peace. Hot late show.
3 man.